Rob Manzanares is playing with his 14-year-old son at his new home in New Mexico, where he moved from Colorado a couple of years ago. We traveled here to talk with him about his battle to put an end to what many call illegal adoptions in Utah. Rob says his daughter was illegally adopted there. It all started in Colorado back in 2007 when the woman he was dating became pregnant.
About 3 months into the pregnancy, she determined that she needed to end her relationship with me, and that's when the conversations of adoption occurred. And I told her, you know, I'm old enough, I know what it takes to raise a child, and I was willing to take this responsibility on as a single parent or a co-parent.
But Rob says his ex-girlfriend, Carrie Terry, continued to talk about adoption and got the Mormon Church involved.
She tried to get the LDS Family Service Adoption in Colorado to work with us and to try to get me to meet with them, and I kept telling her no, 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 and she was guided that the only way this needs to go is that this child needs to be adopted to a Mormon family, and that she would agree to that.
The next thing Rob knew, she was asking him to give up his parental rights.
I said absolutely not.
And to further affirm his commitment to their unborn child, Rob says he sent Carrie money.
So as this progressed and we ended our relationship, I continued to pay her child support throughout her pregnancy, and continued to help as much as I could, requested to be present at doctor appointments. Obviously, she cut me off.
And when 7 months into the pregnancy, Carrie told him she was planning to travel to Utah to visit her sick father, Robert hired a lawyer and went to court.
I filed for paternity in Colorado. I filed a paternity action in Colorado along with an injunction to adoption because I had this fear that she was going to adopt this child either way in the state of Colorado.
Carrie filed a response with the court requesting a hearing to terminate Rob's parental rights so she could move forward with an adoption in Colorado. A date was set a few weeks later, February 20th, 2008. 6 days before that hearing, Carrie traveled to Utah. 4 days before the hearing, her brother and sister-in-law signed a petition to adopt her baby. 3 days before the hearing, Carrie had labor-induced and gave birth. The day of the hearing, Carrie called the Colorado court to say she wouldn't be there because she was still in Utah visiting a sick relative, and then walked into a Utah courtroom to finalize the adoption.
She had relinquished her or given her consent to the adoption the same day of the Colorado hearing. Actually, it was parallel hearings, happened within minutes of each other. She stated that there is no father. She didn't know the father. This would allow mother to still have a relationship with our daughter and exclude me from any relationship with our daughter.
When Rob learned what had happened, his legal team got to work both in Colorado and Utah. His attorney says the way Utah's laws are written, unwed fathers have no rights, making the state a safe haven for adoptions.
A law on its face may have a good objective, but here it's taken a turn for the worse. And really, they're providing a safe harbor for mothers to flee to Utah to give birth to their child and not have the dad consent to an adoption.
Friday's Utah Supreme Court ruling reverses a lower court ruling and requires that lower court to rehear the case. His lawyers are hopeful that the Utah courts will eventually send the case back to Colorado.
In Rob's case, I think eventually Utah Supreme Court will rule that Colorado has jurisdiction and Colorado should decide what's best for the child.
Both men are hopeful the Colorado courts would award custody to Rob, reuniting him with his daughter, who he has seen only once, in December of 2008, when her adoptive parents were ordered to bring her to court. She is now just a couple of weeks away from her 4th birthday.
It's devastating. I mean, there's a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of prayer, a lot of hope, wondering what I can do, if she's okay, and what's going to come of this.